True love is a spiritual phenomenon. True love, even here, is a spiritual phenomenon. True love is where there's no judgment. True love is where the ego is put behind. There's no ego in true love. There's plenty of ego in attachments. In attachments, we talk of I love you. The I is so predominant that if without the I, there is no love. I love you. Do you love me also? And if you say no, then I hate you too. And this is the kind of love we have. And we call it love. These attachments where there is the consciousness of two, I and you, I and that. When there is a consciousness, it's an ego game. It's the functioning of the ego, of the I-ness. But in true love, the I disappears. In true love, the beloved occupies the entire space in your mind and you can think of nothing else but your beloved. It does not mean true love is only in our true home. True love is right here. True love can be experienced. Firstly, it can always be experienced with perfect living masters. You associate with them, you will get true love. You will have a feeling. There's true love right here. Amongst each other, we can have true love, where the ego does not participate and we just think of the other. And there is a possibility. I once said that in attachment, we say, I love you. In true love, you say, you. Somebody said, that's a great mantra. I'll in future always say, you. So I said, it's not a mantra. It's just a way of describing that the subjective I, the ego, is placed behind. It is not, it's in the backbencher. And when in true love is there. So true love is rare. It is rare because our minds are so strong. And ego is the face of the mind. It's the front face of the mind. So ego, in everything we do, is ego. The question has been raised sometimes, if ego is so bad, we should crush it. I don't recommend that. If you crush your ego, how will you be a seeker? How do you seek without ego? You need the ego to seek. You need the I-ness to seek. You need the I-ness to practice. You need the I-ness to do things. It's not that you crush the ego. You use the ego properly. There is two ways of using the ego properly. One is to use it for your spiritual purposes. For seeking, practicing, meditating. I am going to meditate. I am going to do this. Same ego. But now you're using it positively for your spiritual benefit. The second is when you're dealing with the world, their I has to be used all the time. You have to do your business, you have to do other things in this world. Then merge your I with your master. Master is doing everything. It's the same I, but you merge it into a bigger power. So you have not crushed your ego. You have not made I smaller. You made I bigger. And you are able to do your work in the world even better because you are using a master power behind that I. I has become small, the master power becomes big and does the same function as ego. So therefore, there are ways of doing these things. When we come across some of these issues in our life, when we come across these problems in our spiritual growth and development, we have a right to go to the master and get the guidance. A living master can give us guidance. A dead master cannot give us guidance because then our mind begins to give us guidance. And the mind is not interested in giving us guidance to go beyond itself. The mind has its own survival instinct to survive as a mental entity, which we have made it a mental entity. We have given it all the life and power to be so strong. So the mind has its own survival and therefore the mind will not help us. Therefore, a living master living in a physical body, at the same time, when we need guidance, we should take guidance from the living master. Of course, if the living master passes away and you have his friendship and his presence in you, which he will place at the time of initiation. If while he is alive and is physically present and he puts his presence inside you at the time of initiation, you have direct access to him. But the mind can also start saying, I am now talking to my master, the mind is giving answers. So he gives you the recipe, how to prevent that. And the recipe is still the same, that the empowered words, the charged words that he has given you, use them, mind negativity will not be able to work and cannot really reproduce the master at all. So there are so many protections provided in this path, as provided by this method of Srut Shabd Yoga. When you practice it, All kinds of safeguards are built into it. And that is why I found it the best thing that I could find so far in my life. And I recommend those who want to go to the true home might like to try the Sutshab Yoga, the system of meditation, which I have practiced and found it very useful. I hope you will also find it useful.